wait, what just happened? What just happened? Where did the Toyota Tacoma SR go? I was just in the cloudy hills of Malibu, California, driving the Toyota Tacoma SR, and now I'm here. Now I'm here at the LA Auto Show in front of a white Toyota Tacoma Limited. Well, I'll tell you what happened. Mother Nature happened, okay? Mother Nature decided to rain all day on our parade, okay? So if you've been looking at the B-roll of the Toyota Tacoma SR and then all of a sudden I appeared here, that's why. On our Tacoma First Drive event, Mother Nature gushed buckets of rain on us in California. This is Malibu, California, by the way, and Mother Nature decided that that was the perfect time to open up the heavens and rain all over us. So I decided, okay, look, we got to finish this video because I was in the middle of talking about the Toyota Tacoma SR, which is like the base level, the cheapest Toyota Tacoma there is. That's the one that you're going to get as like a work truck, okay? Now I had the one with the 8-speed automatic transmission, which means you get the lowest version of that iForce engine. It's got 228 horsepower, I think, and 243 pound-feet of torque, right around there. And in the hills of like Malibu, it was enough. It was fine. It's also the lightest version of the Tacoma that you can get. It's got that little extended cab on it. You can get it with the longer bed. It had the little steely wheels. It was a fantastic companion. Now, as far as styling is concerned, I'm not so worried about that because who's really worrying about the styling of their Toyota Tacoma work truck, to be honest with you? It looks good, like all the new Toyota Tacomas look. So no complaints there, really, all right? Inside, interior comfort, this is the big difference, okay? The last gen Toyota Tacoma, not super comfortable. Interior needed a makeover, like ASAP, all right? The seats, for someone my size, I'm 6'6", they were not good, okay? Not good. I had the chance to drive the previous gen on the way up to the event, and then we had the chance to drive like the newer ones, and not super great, all right? But the SR, you get sort of the regular Tacoma seat. It's so much more comfortable, so much more comfortable, so much more accommodating. And so right away, that was a big difference to me. The interior felt like a huge step up. And that's saying something because that's supposed to be the base level truck. That's the base model truck. And so the fact that you get this massive improvement from the base model, that's really welcome, okay? All right, so we're behind the wheel of the Toyota Tacoma SR, and this is like the cheapest, most affordable Tacoma that you can get, all right? This is like bare bones base. We got the little steel wheels. And so the main thing is, what's the ride like in this? Because you got the leaf springs out back. This is kind of the smallest, lightest Tacoma, really. And it's just, you know, kind of the work truck you see around. And one thing right away, the minute I slid into this seat, is this is infinitely more comfortable than the previous gen Tacoma.
Keep right to stay on Mulholland Highway.
Yeah, I gotta keep right to stay on Mulholland Highway, I get it. And so one of the things that's interesting about being behind the wheel of this is that we're driving up the canyons on Mulholland in
Keep
Malibu.
Right to stay on Mulholland Highway.
Yes, obviously, keep right. And I'm on a route that Toyota programmed in, and we're gonna kind of bear right here and go
Continue
up
on
into
Mulholland Highway for 2 miles.
up into the mountains of Mulholland and these beautiful, beautiful California mountains. I mean, it's a gorgeous day despite the rain. I mean, the clouds and stuff look absolutely amazing. I don't know how well you guys can see out the windows, but it is incredible up here. But it's the perfect place to test this new powertrain combination because this thing has the 8-speed automatic, which means it gets the 228 horsepower base engine, I think 243 pound-feet of torque, which is still decent, I mean, compared to the previous gen. But how does that respond? And more importantly, how does the transmission respond? Because that was sort of a sore point in the last gen Tacoma, is that the 6-speed automatic was sometimes unsure of itself. I was driving up here, so I literally drove up here in the last Tacoma, the last gen Tacoma, and I think it was like a TRD Sport, right? And while I was coming up, I was with Isaac from Team 4Runner, and we noticed immediately on some of these grades, some of these long kind of like constant grades, that the transmission would kick down, then kick down again, then upshift and kick down, and it always seemed to be a bit confused. And here, where we're on this very twisty, curvy canyon road, I'm getting none of that. I'm absolutely getting none of that. And this is not a super powerful engine. And I'm not getting that hesitation from the transmission. I'm just getting a lot of proper gear, and that's what you want. The other thing that I would point out about the drive, especially on a road like this, is that the steering and the handling, it's perfectly fine. The rear end feels a little bit light, mainly because this is the lightest Tacoma and you don't have anything back there and it's on the leaf springs. So I'm getting some vibration from the rear end, a little kind of skittering, you know, from the rear end back there. Someone else from our group in the Tacoma ahead of me just pulled out. And so you get some of that vibration, which is to be expected. Like, that's not surprising. But the front end tracks very well. The steering has a nice weight to it. Like, this feels like not just a one generation more refined truck, it feels like several generations more refined. And remember, this is the SR. This is the base trim of the Tacoma, the cheapest, most affordable one that you can get. So the fact that we're driving this one, so we were in a TRD Sport with some options from the previous gen coming up, and you would think, you know, that one had some options. It was a nicely optioned truck. It should feel better than this stripped base model truck, and it didn't. This feels like a much more rewarding drive. Also, these are pre-production, but the interiors just feel better. They look nicer, the design is better, they just feel more modern. Once all of the sort of plastics are finalized, it's going to be a more pleasant place to be for sure. So one of the things that I would say about the drive of this Tacoma, to kind of wrap up the SR driving portion, is if you were to buy this for like a work truck, right? So these are very popular with people who want a good, reliable work truck. You buy this for a work truck.
In a quarter mile, you will arrive at your destination.
Well, yes, I'm going to arrive at my destination. I know I'm going to arrive at my destination. Thank you. So you buy this for a work truck. You got a bunch of stuff in the back, you know, you're hauling stuff or whatever, kind of way down that back end. You're going to be perfectly pleased with the way this thing drives. And most importantly, you're going to be perfectly comfortable in this seat. Like, this seat is so much more comfortable than the previous gen. And another thing to note about the transmission is that if you get the automatic, you get the lower spec engine, but if you get the 6-speed manual, you actually get the regular iForce. So you get the 278 horsepower and 317 pound-feet of torque, I believe. And so that's kind of nice. If you just prefer to row your own gears, you get the uprated iForce engine. So I like that a lot. But if you're just buying this as a day-to-day driver or work truck, I think you're going to be very, very pleased with this compared to the last gen. Oh, and if you see some of these interior shots, the interior materials, these were all pre-production trucks. So the interior materials were not yet finalized. A lot of them needed their final graining and fitment. So if you see any kind of shiny plastic, that's why, because these were pre-production. But just the way the interior is laid out is so much nicer. The infotainment with just the regular 8-inch infotainment screen is just light years ahead of the old system, because the old Tacoma had like the old Toyota system, so not great infotainment. Because look, if you're using it as a work truck, you still want to be able to like use your Apple CarPlay, and you still want to have, you know, decent gauges and stuff like that. And the SR had the sort of base digital gauge cluster, which is more of just like a centralized speedometer tach kind of thing. Perfectly fine, perfectly adequate, extremely legible, so no complaints there. I thought the interior, for what it was in terms of quality and stuff like that, obviously it hadn't even been finalized yet, but a huge step up where the old Tacoma felt like 2 generations back. This one feels more modern, more appropriate for a base light duty truck. Now, one of the things that I'll put on the screen, just so you kind of know, is the relative towing numbers, because in the SR, you assume that you're going to be loading up that bed and you're going to be towing. And some of these numbers match the other Tacomas in the lineup, and some of them are slightly different. So I'll put those numbers on screen so you can kind of see when you have the base SR versus the iForce versus the iForce Max, how those different numbers kind of shake out depending on your needs. But I would say for something that a light duty truck would be purchased for, and you're not going to a full-size pickup truck, I think the base SR is probably going to handle pretty much all of your needs. If you need something more than that, you're probably going to get a full-size pickup truck anyway. So you guys let me know in the comments, what do you think of these numbers? I think they are pretty adequate for the class, especially for a purchase price of like 31 and change. I think about, let's say 32 if you round up. So $32,000 for the base Tacoma with everything that you see in these pictures. So guys, that's about it for the Toyota Tacoma SR. I'd love to know, what do you think of this little steely wheeled kind of work truck? I kind of liked it actually. I thought it was a very simplistic kind of working machine. This is what people expect from a Toyota Tacoma. You expect sort of the insane off-road capability, but then you also expect that kind of like, here's my Toyota Tacoma work truck that I've owned for like 25 years and it's still running and it still works and it's still durable. And all of those Tacoma upgrades. And if you want to see some of the talk about the powertrain, please go check out my little preview video of the TRD Pro and the Trail Hunter where we talk to some of the engineers, just because that's been a highly requested topic. That's been one of the most popular comments that I see the most often is about the powertrains and sort of the durability and longevity. So go check out those videos if you haven't already, because they talk about the sort of enhancements to the Toyota Tacoma in order to keep that reputation going as strong as it always has been. Are you considering getting a Toyota Tacoma SR as a work truck? Let me know. I'd love to hear from you. And if you found the video helpful, like, subscribe, ring the bell, all of those good things. And of course, I will see you in the next video, which hopefully is a little bit more cohesive than this one, which is a mishmash from the LA Auto Show and the Toyota Tacoma Drive in Malibu. You try saying Toyota Tacoma as many times as fast as I am without stammering, okay? Because it's not easy, all right? I'll see you soon.